Alright, today's vlog is a super quick one. It's gonna be tips on how to stay motivated to finish any tasks, any of those tasks, those long pending tasks that you've been like throwing off. Tips on that coming up right now. I'm actually trying to figure out what do I want in my background. How about we like choose that as the background today? Alright, tip number one. If you've got tasks that have been long pending, the first thing you need to do is actually like speak it out loud. So take a pause, go watch my video about procrastinating and committing, and then come back. That's tip number one. Commit to somebody else that you're going to do that out. For example, you want to go and water the garden? Say it, I'm going to go and water the plants today. My neighbors have the most amazing ramp up to their house. Tip number two is to actually kind of break those tasks into smaller tasks. For example, I have been like pushing off trying to do the Venice video, and it's been 2 months that I'm back from my trip. That's because it's so massive in my head. And if that happens to you, then the best thing to do is to actually break it down into smaller pieces. For example, the task that I had to do yesterday was just to copy it over into my iMovie, create the project. That's it, like one small baby step at a time. So much for getting that in the background. You just get the sky. Okay, tip number three is to actually schedule it. Now, that seems a bit like similar to like tip number one where you're committing it, but in tip one, you're just talking about, but then sort of like an extension to that particular tip is to actually schedule it. So I am going to finish the Venice vlog today. They're all kind of intertwined, all these tips. So it's one massive tip, but then like, you know what, like I'm kind of breaking them into digestible pieces. Alright, tip number four. Tip number four is actually to like set up reviews if the task is too big. For example, if you're going to have to like write a book or you plan to write an article. Tip four about reviewing things is that you actually set up reviews in the middle of your process. So you would probably have a review day one or day two, and you would say, alright, by day two I should have like the title of my article, the opening and structure of the article. A good way of doing that or actually accomplishing that is probably have like write that down where you can tick off and say that yes, done. Alright, and tip number five, the final tip, is don't multitask. Your brain, it can think parallel things, but it's always efficiently doing one thing at a time. You know what, there's a video by Cody Warner about like multitasking where he says this much better, but essentially is that even if you actually multitask, your brain is going to have that residual effect in terms of trying to get over the context of the previous one, and then there's too much of context switching. So tip 5 would be don't multitask. Like if you have one activity, finish it off completely before you jump into activity number 2. 5 tips, if you apply them to anything as small as just maybe have to clean up your wardrobe, or something as big as finish an entire movie production, come on, you can do it. You can do any task out there. You got that. I had to finish watering the plants. I'll see you in the next one.